I'm going to be reading to you out of Luke chapter 7, 36 through 47. And it's a familiar story about the sinful woman who anointed Jesus' feet. Now, one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him, so he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. When a woman who had lived a sinful life in that town learned that Jesus was eating there at the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster jar of perfume. And as she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, "If this man was a prophet, he would know who this is touching him and what kind of woman she is. She's a sinner." Jesus answered him, "Simon, I have something to tell you." "Tell me, teacher," he said. 2 men owed money to a certain moneylender. One owed him 500 denarii and the other 50. Neither of them had money to pay him back, so he canceled the debts of them both. Now which of them loved him more? Simon replied, "I suppose the one that had the bigger debt canceled." "You have judged correctly," Jesus said. And he turned toward the woman and said to Simon, "Do you see this woman? I came into your house. You didn't give me water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You didn't give me a kiss, but this woman from the time I have entered has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins, they've been forgiven, for she loved much. But he who has been forgiven little loves little." This story is one that is preached from the pulpit many, many times. I know I've heard it a lot. But I think it's a great picture. Something that's not brought out a lot is the picture of vulnerability and how her willingness to come into a house that was not her own or was not familiar to her, to be known as the sinful or the immoral woman, be talked about, to be whispered about, and she was willing to come anyway, to come not just alone, not just walking into the room, but come as a maidservant, kneeling at the feet of Jesus, offering a very, very expensive, pure gift. And you think about, too, this gift that she offered at the feet of Jesus, this gift that she brought to Jesus, this man she had never met, only heard of probably. This man, she brings a gift that cost so much. What did it cost her? I was just thinking about that, like the alabaster jar of perfume. How did this immoral woman buy it? She had to have bought it with what she was doing, with her sins. And she poured this out at the feet of Jesus, crying and weeping. What a beautiful picture. She was willing to pour out everything she had, every sin, everything that was in her past, amidst the people muttering and whispering and saying aloud things about her, maybe even been with her, knowing intimate things about her life. And here she is willing to pour it out at the feet of Jesus just for a chance. Just for a chance. For what? Jesus knew for what. He knew that this woman had much sin. He knew that. He recognized this humility, this vulnerability at his feet. He recognized that. And he knew that this was a woman who sought to be free, who brought her faith at the feet of Jesus. And you think faith, she was an immoral woman. She was sinful. But how did she know to come to Jesus? How did she know that this is where I could be free? This is where I could be forgiven, unless she had a measure of faith. And she knew this was a man that may turn her away. She knew that this is a situation that could cause her great harm. But she was willing to risk it all, to sit at the feet of Jesus and take a chance to receive a gift. And she received that gift because Jesus knew what she was there for. She was there to receive. She was there to give, and she was there to receive. And although he heard the mumbling and the grumbling, he heard the things that were being said, and he addressed it as such, he knew that this woman, because she loved so much, she brought everything she had. She risked all that she had. She knelt down as a servant to the Savior, and she risked that to receive from Jesus forgiveness, a new life. her past behind her. And Jesus did not let her down. He did not hold that condemnation and say, you're right, she's pretty bad, I should send her away. Let's talk about her sins. What do you know about her? None of that happened. He simply said, I forgive her debt, just as he did in the parable that he spoke about. It is forgiven, and because much is forgiven, this woman here, she loves me much. She loves God much. She will have great faith because she will remember what brought her here. And mostly when I speak on things about marriage, and I think this is completely applicable in marriage, but in every realm of our life too. In marriage, we get hurt by the people that we love the most, and they say they love us the most. And we start building up these walls around us because we don't want to be hurt, but yet we're still married. Or maybe we're seeking a divorce. But this story is proof of how if we will come to Jesus humbly and vulnerable, that he will recognize that. He will recognize that faith, and I believe your spouse will recognize that faith if you will take a chance and risk something today, tomorrow, for the rest of your days. Risk it. Take that chance and allow Jesus to start that healing process in you for whatever's happened in your life, but also in your marriage for the walls that you've built up. Start tearing them down with a humble and a contrite spirit and watch what he does, because he will not turn you away. He will not turn the restoration of your marriage away. He will not turn the healing in your soul away. If this is not a marriage issue for you and you're listening just because you were compelled by the story or because you know me or for whatever reason that you're listening, know that this right here is proof that Jesus wanted us to keep reading about this story in Luke 7, to know that we can come to the feet of Jesus with all of our garbage, no matter how big, no matter how small, and receive forgiveness as we risk our vulnerability. I just thank you for listening today. And I believe that God's going to speak to you through this story.